So what can I say to you? But I'm off that, had to fall back. You got everybody thinking I'm all bad. You know the truth. I was always holding you down. You down. Baby. What is this for this girl? What is love? What's that? Love, what is love? You believe it if I told you.
Yo, what it do, man? This is your boy, North End Floyd, man, and this is the Kickback Podcast. This is Ep.212. We've been doing 212 episodes, and believe it or not, I've had this guest on before. If you've been following my journey doing podcasting and stuff, it's been about like 4 years, Roy. It's been a while, but I had him on before, and we had a great conversation. So I'm hoping, I'm knowing this is gonna be a dope conversation too. And I know things have changed since we had the last discussion. So what's been going on, Roy? What's good with you?
I got elected.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a pretty big change.
Yeah, you did get elected.
Yeah,
for
last
sure.
time I was a candidate.
Yeah.
That was, like 4 or 5 years ago?
That was about like 4 or 5 years ago, like 2020.
And I'm older.
That's like a COVID.
Yeah.
That was like COVID era.
I think it was. And now you got this fancy studio, and you've been
kind of
212. Is that right?
212.
Man.
I'm gonna have to go back and see what number you was or whatever. I was actually, that COVID time, like a lot of people was at home. I was doing like 2-hour shows.
Yeah.
I think I had you on, and I think I had Mitch Templeton.
That's right.
I had Mitch right after that. So shout out to Mitch, man. Me and Mitch still be talking. Yeah, good guy.
I'm his treasurer. So.
Hold on. Okay, I don't know who called or whatever. You're his treasurer?
Yeah, for his campaign. So.
Oh, I didn't know you had
I've known Mitch for a number of years. He's a sharp guy, and he was a good attorney, and he's a great judge.
I didn't know he had a I knew he was running. I didn't think anybody was running against him.
But whenever he first ran, you have to appoint a treasurer.
Got you. So, okay. So if people don't know, hey, where are you originally from?
I'm born here in Beaumont.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
So man, why?
This is home, and it's been home. So
why did I think you was born like in? I'm sorry, Roy. I thought you was born in like Bridge City or something like that.
I've lived in Houston right after graduation from college, and I lived in Dallas for a short time, but probably 57 of my 65 years I've been here.
Okay, you was in Houston. Where'd you go to? U of H or what?
I know I graduated from Lamar in 1983, and I went over to Houston, and I was a police officer.
Oh, cool.
And then I ended up moving back here.
How was it out there being a police officer?
I was young, and I enjoyed it. For a period of time, and it was very good learning experience.
Never thought about transferring over to Beaumont at that time to be a police officer, or just?
Well, it wasn't. I know I really never thought about it, not for any reason other than whenever we came back, I'd gotten married, which I wasn't married when I became a police officer. And we had our first child, so we had family here, and that was kind of what brought us back. And at that point, I started working as an investigator for a law firm.
Oh, okay. All right. That's what's up. That can get a little tricky, huh? That can get a little dangerous.
Well, no, not really. It was back Provost Humphrey Law Firm. It was plaintiff work, because that was in the late 80s whenever I came back, and I was there till the early 90s.
Okay. So, like I said, last time when we talked, you was a candidate.
Yes, sir.
So what inspired you to throw your name in the hat at that particular time?
Well, a lot of it had to do with season of life. I mean, here I am at a time where I was able to slow down a little bit with my full-time work. I have a business. My son-in-law had come to work for me, and he was doing a good job, and I got more involved in the community. And it just kind of, that was back in 21 when I ran the first time.
Okay, 21.
And it was an open race because Mayor Becky Ames at the time ended up not running. And so, of course, I didn't win that first race. So it wasn't until 23 that I.
Oh, you did. Did y'all go into a runoff?
We did. We did. Yes. Mayor Mouton and I had a runoff in 21, and she beat me.
Yeah. Before you ran, I used to see you like you was everywhere. Like I'm talking about you was in the hood and everything. You
Well, I still try to get everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, you was all in Plymouth Village, Maida, and I was like, who is this guy? Now my mom, she knew you.
Okay.
Tony Hope and what's Miss Brenda? What's her name? I think she was on your campaign.
Belinda George.
Belinda. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
Miss Belinda. Yeah, Miss Belinda. She used to talk very highly of you, and I was like, man, who
Well, I
this
hope
guy?
she still does.
I think she still do. She
Yeah, I
still.
talked to Belinda earlier today.
Yeah, Belinda. I was on her. She used to. I don't know if she still does it,
Yeah,
but
the Tucked In Tuesdays.
yeah, the Tuck In Tuesdays.
Yeah.
That was dope. She gave me a Grinch. I don't know what no, it wasn't a Grinch. It was like a something to wear.
Yeah.
Did you wear one of those?
I did. I sure
you
did. I did. She ended up on Steve Harvey.
She did.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's done a lot of things, man.
She really has.
I'm trying to get her back on the show.
You ought to.
Yeah.
I'm sure she'd do it.
Yeah, I had her on the show before I started having guests come over, which is a big deal for me now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've been following you now for a number of years. I appreciate your commitment because having my own radio show once a week, there's quite a bit of prep and work.
It is. Yeah, a lot of people don't know, like, because I work and then I get off and then boom, I come straight to doing all this, and then being a father, picking up my daughter from school and prepping, it's a lot. I tell people when I get off of work, the second job is gonna kick in and stuff like that. So as far as like now that you're mayor, is it everything that you expected as far as the work?
Well, yes, and I've learned a lot. I mean, it's a real privilege getting to be mayor, and and part of that is here I was 61, 62 when I got elected the first time, so that it was a new career for me, if you will.
Yeah.
And so, I've had an opportunity to learn a lot, learn how to navigate it, and also how cities work, how they're different than business, and there's a whole lot of information out there. But you get to help people.
Yep.
You get to make a difference at times. There's some things you can't make a difference in, but you kind of learn where you can help, and you try to make Beaumont better.
Yeah, like I said, man, you're everywhere. Like I get tired real quick, and you older than me, Roy, and you still got the juice, man. Like you here, you there, you taking pictures over here, you at this place, you at that place, you at this committee, and man, how do you keep up? What you taking, vitamins? Because I don't have it. I don't got it.
Hey, I exercise. I'm not a big vitamin taker. But
okay.
I do exercise because I'm not as young as I once was.
I got you.
And I also watch what I eat. So
see, that's what
all that nutrition stuff. I'm gonna get a picture of you right now.
Hey. That's what I got to do. I keep telling myself, like, I got the little weights down here, and man, I'm gonna make that commitment to exercising. And
as you get older, you'll figure out you need to.
Yeah, not without a doubt.
It's one of those things that we all have to do.
Yeah. Somebody said it was a close election. Every election that you've been in so far has been a runoff, right?
Well, no, the 23 election was not a runoff. But again, it was close. But this past election in 25 was a runoff.
Yeah, it was a runoff.
And then in 21, it was a runoff. So I know all about winning and losing.
Yeah, well, you've been winning a lot. You plan on running again?
At this point, I'd say yes. I mean, it's that's a year and a half off, and
yes,
I'm 65, so we'll see. As long as I keep doing well, and I feel like I can continue to serve effectively. I'm certainly open to it. That's for sure.
Yeah, 2027 is the. It takes a lot as far as it doesn't get stressful during those times, election times.
I would say the election part's not particularly stressful. Sometimes when there's issues on council that are divisive, I hate that for the community.
Yes,
but in terms of, I wouldn't call it, it's not overly stressful. I understand what I can do and what I can't do. And as you get older, you quit worrying about the stuff that you just can't do anything about. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And, some things are for other people to take care of, but it's been a good experience, and I hope, and certainly we just had the bond election in November, and
Yeah.
that didn't go as I would have liked, but
Yep.
it's one of those things where it was exactly what I wanted, an opportunity for the people of Beaumont to vote. It was the first time in 43 years, and one of the bonds passed, but I do think the city learned a lot from that. And getting correct information out in a world with social media and all that, it can be a little challenging.
Yeah. The bond, it was, it was a lot of going back and forth on
Right.
over the bond and stuff. And I'm just gonna be transparent. I did vote for most of the things on the bond. I didn't vote for what's the by the mall, the street that goes from the mall, the new one.
Yes, that's Point Parkway.
Point Parkway. They was gonna connect that to 105.
Right.
Because I think 105, man, the traffic is kind of hard getting on 105. If you stay in those apartments, especially the ones they just built, and RFD Road, it's kind of hard to get. And then I was like, dang, you putting in another road.
And that is something that's being studied right now, because that is a very challenging intersection, because with those apartments and those houses back there, and especially busy traffic time, 105 gets lots of traffic. So that is something that we have a traffic study on right now.
Yeah. Now that Darling extension, y'all didn't put it on the bond. I was intrigued about the Darling extension, to be honest with you.
Right.
I was like, okay.
Well, it's funny because I know you're married and I'm married, and life's about compromise, and doing bonds are about compromise too. We had a bond advisory committee. There were 17 people that were on it, and all the council people got to appoint a couple of people, and so did staff. And it was a great committee, and they kind of did a lot of the heavy lifting. So in terms of going through the different issues, there were several surveys done to the community, but Beaumont's a big city, and it's a diverse city, and there's people that want different things. And part of it is having dialogue and trying to find that ground that, is that enough people want.
Yeah.
And clearly we didn't find that, given the voter turnout. However, again, it was a learning experience. And sometimes people say, well, were you upset about it? It's like, I won't say I was, I would have loved to see it pass, because I think it, clearly I supported it, but I wanted the people to be able to vote. And ultimately, Beaumont's gonna be what the people of Beaumont determine it's gonna be. When you're city council, you get to help steer the direction of the city, but people have to receive it and want it to go that way. And I think we have made progress, and I think we'll continue to make progress.
What's one bond that you wish would have passed? Whichever one that didn't pass, which one that you was like, man, I kind of wish that.
I was really glad the infrastructure bond passed, but also the one with the sports facilities and the police and fire station. That was a big bond. And but I think what I heard on that is some people thought we needed a new police station, some people didn't. Some people didn't want us to build new recreation centers. And so and the fact that there was a lot on that one issue, people felt like it should have been more broken up. And we heard all that. That's for sure.
The comments, like every time on Facebook, like the news will post something, most of the people that disagree was the people that didn't even live in Beaumont. It's like, geez, you stay in Lumberton. Hey, you stay in Little Cypress, Maurice,ville. Like a lot of negativity was coming from as far as the outside people that live outside the city. Do you even pay attention to the comments that's going on?
Not too often. And and I apologize for that, but part of it is I only have so much bandwidth. And what I've learned about social media, I mean, I'm pretty available. My cell phone's out there. I'll share it now. And so I'm pretty easy to get hold of. And social media, messenger and all that, I don't spend a lot of time on just because it can kind of be overwhelming.
Uh-huh.
And and I know some candidates do get online and respond to people on social media. I don't, that's just not who I am. I'm
Yeah.
happy to talk to people, and I love like coming on your show, and I appreciate what you're doing here because this is getting out real information. We're talking, and it is what it is. But oftentimes, or sometimes on social media, I won't say oftentimes, but when I get aware of it is when I hear about it, is when information's just wrong.
Yeah.
And, I don't want to get on there and say, well, just get in the weeds every time because people can say what they want to say.
Yeah. I'm not going to say they got in trouble, but a couple of council members, it was a big issue about what they was posting online and social media and getting people riled up. How do you, it seemed like I might be saying this wrong, but it seems like you got to play, I'm going to just say peacemaker, between issues that was happening within the council.
Yeah, I certainly tried to. And, but, the way I look at being mayor and the way I look at the council is we're there to help lead, but we should all be there to help make Beaumont better, not about dividing the community.
Yeah.
And it's not that there's not issues that can be hot topics, but you got to hear from everybody and you can't ever disrespect anybody.
True.
That. And when talking about somebody on social media, that's never been anything I've done. So, but I understand some people do that and they have that right.
Yeah. I mean, because I didn't like the fact that and I'm just a person with an opinion like everybody else, but we was just seeing how, the decisiveness, the split between, because you'll see like me, such and such and such and such. We agree on this, and it's like, okay, y'all are always agreeing on something, and they're always agreeing on something. Like, as far as making Beaumont better, we're seeing the split, and it's not a good look.
Right.
So how's it now? You think things are turned around? Everybody's on the same page now. Everything's cool within the council.
Yeah, I mean, I think everything's fine with the council right now, and when issues come up that are that get the community stirred up, everybody that's run for office, they listen to their constituency, and they also have their own opinion about how they do things. So, but I'm not concerned that if we all get along all the time, or, most votes, there's not any division on. There's many unanimous votes, but there are some that do get controversial. But the way I look at it is, once you vote, you move on. Once the council's made a decision, the decision's been made.
Yeah. Terry Roy, Terry Roy.
Yeah, I sure do.
Terry Roy asked, what does Roy think is going to take to turn the city around, and where do we start?
Well, I believe that we've started, and part of it is through having dialogue and economic improvement, working with our youth, working with our school district. But it's going to be every day we get up and do the work, and the more people that do it, the greater the progress is going to be. I know, I've announced the mayor's coalition against violence.
I've seen that,
and one of the things. IEA, which is, out at Minnie Rogers, it's part of the juvenile justice system, but it's a 501c3, and they help kids that are in that juvenile justice system, and they use a lot of volunteers, but they always need more. Then you have Revision that does a lot of intervention with youth before they enter the criminal justice system. So, and then also through the schools, through the reading programs and mentoring programs. So there's 3 organizations that are going to help us lead this. And we're really going to encourage, and we're going to track if we can get more people, and we're going to report that, whether it's the numbers increase or decrease or whatever, in terms of getting more volunteers. Because the one thing about my demographic is there's more people getting older.
Yeah.
There's more people that have more time. People are living longer.
Yep.
And, I'd just like to see more people get involved, give their time to these kids, because sometimes I hear, kids today are so different. Kids aren't any different.
Yeah.
I mean, kids are kids.
Yeah.
But situations are different.
Yeah.
And but some kids don't get the attention or the love, the direction that they need.
Mm-hmm.
And just by showing up to their school or helping with revision or IEA and any mentoring program, letting them be heard, letting them know that they're important, that they can do things,
Mm-hmm.
and that they matter. And I think that can go a long ways to making things get better. But certainly we've got the Gilbert building downtown.
Mm-hmm.
I can just talk all the time, Floyd, so I apologize.
Nah, go ahead. Nah, we having a conversation.
Just got interviewed this week on that, and
Mm-hmm.
it's making great progress. It's going to be beautiful, and I'm excited about that because downtown,
Mm-hmm.
we've got 2 really nice restaurants down there and several other restaurants.
We do,
and they're doing well. And getting the Gilbert building back, I think these are wins for the city of Beaumont. I think they're things that'll bring more people back to downtown.
Yeah.
And I do think the downtown of cities is kind of the heartbeat of the city. When your downtown's not doing well, it usually affects the city similarly.
Yeah.
And that's not just because we're in Beaumont. That's kind of true across the country.
Yeah.
When you see cities turn around, usually their downtown is one of the first things that kind of gets revitalized.
Yeah. You're right. They do have several restaurants downtown. Trust Bistro is one
delicious.
of them. Yeah.
I can't eat lunch there.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. Because I did one time and I about fell asleep in my office because it was good food, but it was a little. It was too much comfort food for me.
It is.
I ate it all.
Yeah, it's one of those ones. When I talked to the owner, Tiff, she was like, a lot of people actually get it to go, and it's, it is comfort food because you go home, you eat it, and hey, but it's a great restaurant, and I think as far as revitalizing downtown, that's one of the restaurants that are definitely get a lot of, not saying they don't have a lot of business, but definitely get a lot of business and things like that. Is it a plan to try to bring more businesses downtown?
Yes. And we've got a new economic development department that has only been going on a little over about a year and a half now. And and so we're actively looking to attract people, and we've got economic development on our website so it can tell people the incentives that we can offer to get businesses downtown.
Mm-hmm.
So I think all of that, which is something that we hadn't been doing. So we had partnered with the Chamber of Commerce, but we decided that we needed to take that in-house, and I believe we've made some strides there. And again, it's like anything else, things rarely change overnight. It's about getting it right, learning how to continue to do it better, see what works, see what doesn't work. And as time goes on, you still have to shape it and mold it. But, I feel like we're clearly getting some wins there.
Yeah. It's people in the comments saying how they have suggestions and how to get in contact with you. Yeah. You're very open with giving. I'm not saying get off, but how can somebody reach out to you? Do they have to go through the proper 311 or something like that?
Yeah, no. I'll share my cell phone, but I also tell people it's really good to email me at the city because then that creates a paper trail. And if I need to forward it to other departments, we keep an Excel spreadsheet on that so we know kind of what's coming in and how we're getting things checked off. But people are welcome to call me. My cell phone's 409-350-9317. It's on my Facebook page. It's on voteroywest.com. So I only have one cell phone. This is it. So, like right now it's on silent. So if you call me, it's not going to interrupt the show.
Terry Roy says the best way, y'all, is to email him. But Roy also said his number is on his page. So people are talking about get in contact with him. Tell Roy to get in contact. That's how you get in contact with him. It's people that are talking about the homeless situation. It's another guy that's talking about VA program or something for the
Well,
VA
yeah, we
clinic.
just the VA is building a nice new VA medical clinic right there on College Street, catty corner from Baptist Hospital. It's underway. The metal's up now,
Okay.
so which is going to be really nice for our veterans
Mm.
because the other center was pretty small and the parking lot was small and there were a limited. They're going to be able to expand services,
Mm-hmm.
and the other place flooded. I think
Yeah.
it flooded on 2 different occasions, which was also a problem. So I think this is going to be a better location for them. It's going to provide more services, and I think that's really important.
Yeah.
And on the homelessness, I mean, I believe strides have been made, and sometimes again, when you look across the country, homelessness is a problem.
It's everywhere.
And it's not going to be something that we can make go away. But I think our homeless coalition has been more effective. They count the number of people that they're transitioning off the streets, that are getting in apartments, and in terms of the services that are provided. But it is continues to be a work in progress, and a lot of the money that is used for homelessness comes from HUD.
Okay.
The city currently doesn't spend any of our general funds, meaning funds coming in from sales tax or property tax, on homelessness because we don't have the capacity for it. It's not that I'd have a problem doing it,
Yeah.
but there's other things that we're not getting done right now. But we do get some funds from HUD that get dispersed, and I think I saw a question in there about transitional housing,
Mm-hmm.
and there is some transitional housing, and it currently exists. We could certainly always have more funding for that.
Yeah.
But for people that want to transition, they're still pretty positive receptors there. It's you're able to do it.
Yeah. I don't really see, I'm not saying they're not there, but I don't really see the homeless. Well, let me say this. I know a lot of people as far as downtown is people that don't live in the city or whatever, or they might, but as far as like revitalizing downtown, people always say the homeless, they don't want their cars broken in. I don't see the homeless really out there downtown like that. When I'm in downtown, like when I go to Trust and these other restaurants, you don't really see the homeless out there,
Well, and really, in terms of downtown, and sometimes people have trouble believing this, but
Mhm.
it's just the truth. We have a number of events. This weekend will be another example. There's usually something always going on at Julie Rogers Theater, the
Mhm.
event center, the civic center.
Yes.
There's hundreds of cars down there, and we haven't had problems with auto burglaries down there. We
Yeah.
hadn't had
No.
problems with crimes against persons, with
Mhm.
people getting mugged or
Yeah,
anything
I
else.
know.
Now, it doesn't mean people shouldn't be safe. It doesn't mean people, shouldn't hide things that are in their car, and certainly lock your car.
Yeah.
But I believe downtown is safe. And, our crime rate has gotten better. December was not a good month. And, but, like our homicide rate's gone down pretty
It has.
significantly.
Yeah.
But one's too many, and, so we're gonna continue to work at it, but I do, like last year we had 12, I believe it was 12 criminal homicides in
In 2025?
in 2025, and I believe all of them had suspects within 48 hours.
Mhm.
So we didn't have any open cases. Now everybody's not convicted or everything, but arrests have been made and that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's the thing that I see too, as far as like when a crime's committed, you always see, like you said, within 48 hours, you always see some they have suspects and stuff like that. So that's a good thing. As far as the coalition, as far as the to combat the youth violence, I seen you talking
Yeah.
about that. What does that consist of? Like, what is that all about?
Well, I mean, we have youth involved in shootings,
Mhm.
and usually, for the most part, it involves people that they know, and
Yeah.
sometimes it can be retribution. Sometimes, and part of that's one reason we need to have more mentorship. We need to have more intervention, because I think too many of our youth, and it's like how many I can't tell you, but
Mhm.
whenever it happens, it's too many. and don't know how to resolve things or go to guns too quick, and it destroys people's lives. I mean, whenever a young person shoots somebody, they're going to end up going to prison for a long time, and they may not even realize the consequences of their action, and certainly for the people that get shot, that's terrible. So we want people to be better educated and also understand that they do have a future. That Southeast Texas and Beaumont, there's huge opportunities for jobs.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to stay off drugs, because a lot of those jobs require drug tests.
True.
But we've got to be continuing to educate, reaching out to these kids before they get involved, because addiction is certainly a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
we got some good schools. I mean, we got LIT.
Yeah.
We got Lamar State College, Port Arthur, which is a school I went to and graduated. You have Lamar State College. Is it Orange? I don't know if it's State College Orange, but Lamar Orange. And they got lots of good programs there for people that are graduating high school to go into, and you got Lamar University too, that has a great engineering program, that has a good nursing program too.
Absolutely.
So I mean, I believe in furthering education. I've always been an advocate as far as education past high school and stuff. And like you said, like
in our trade schools,
I was just going to say trade schools also.
Whether it's plumbing, whether it's electrical, whether it's welding, those are huge jobs. And some people that have ended up making hundreds of millions of dollars from this area, started out in the trades, and they ended up getting a business, and the business grew.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's huge opportunities there, but education is the key. And that's one reason it's so important to get kids through school when they're elementary school, learn how to read, because, when you get behind early on, it's going to be really difficult for you. And so I think a lot of the programs are aware of that, and they're working towards that. Part of it is when you identify a problem, you can at least begin to work on it. But, there's usually not just one cause of that problem. There's multiple causes.
Yeah.
So it's got to be a multifaceted solution.
Brandon Johnson says there are a lot of great jobs. Roy West, how can we encourage these companies to hire locals?
Well, and you're right. But, in terms of talking to a lot of the companies, they prefer to hire local. Now, and it depends on what we're talking about. Part of it is whether it's trades, you've got to have the education, but oftentimes, in terms of getting a TWIC card, and also in terms of being able to pass drug tests, that can be an issue. And, it can certainly even be an issue with, in many different careers. So I think, from the conversation I've had, people do like to hire local because it's cheaper for them.
Yeah.
And they know people aren't going to move off.
Yeah.
So, sometimes when I hear people say, well, they just want to hire from outside, I've never seen that to be the case, because it makes more sense for them to hire local, especially for long-term jobs. Now, on the construction jobs, we just don't have enough welders here. We don't have enough electricians.
No.
So they have to get out of the area. And I think the more we have, I think we can certainly put them to work. And I know that there are some programs now with the unions, and certainly with BISD and LIT, where they're trying to very specific about trying to get people educations that can translate to a real job. I know LIT takes a lot of pride in that, and so does Lamar, and so does Lamar Port Arthur and Lamar Orange.
Yeah, and they're constantly growing.
That's right. And those schools are so relatively inexpensive.
Yeah.
The cost has come down. If you went 5 years ago, it's cheaper to go now than it was then. And there's not a lot of things in life that get cheaper.
Yeah. I think LIT, did they just build a new?
They do a new health science building.
Yeah, the health science building.
Super nice.
Yeah, I haven't been, but I passed by it and I was like,
it's beautiful.
Yeah, it looks nice. And like you said, as far as like electrical jobs, plumbing jobs, there's a lot of subdivisions that's getting built. A lot of homes that are getting built that that require electricians and plumbers and stuff.
Well, and all you got to do is for those that are out there, if you have a home or and you need work done, it can take a while to get somebody.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, so it shows you people are busy and there's a need.
Yeah. As far as what lesson have you learned since taking office?
And I've learned a lot of lessons. I felt like I was a pretty good listener before, but I certainly have continued to learn to listen. And it's funny because sometimes people say, well, people think I vote necessarily what I think is best for me. I don't do that. I'm running, I ran for the whole city of Beaumont. So I really think about what's best for our entire city. And, we've got 115,000 people here, and we've got, we got the north end, south end, we've got Old Town, we've got the west end, and there's different needs in different communities. And being aware of that and trying to address those and meet those needs, because the city, needs to address all the areas. We can't, you can't ignore any. I mean, there is a limit to what you can do, but I know our parks and green space is making a lot of improvements as well. And, we've gotten a lot of groups involved, and hopefully, people will continue to see those improvements. But I do want to challenge the listeners out there, because again, it's going to take their involvement, and their involvement doesn't mean just this keyboards on Facebook.
Yes, exactly.
It requires volunteering,
yes,
and being a part of the solution.
Yeah,
I mean, it's easy to identify problems.
Yeah, no doubt.
Mean, you don't. But in terms of coming up with solutions that are making a difference in people's lives, that's a big deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. You said as far as parks and recreations. What about Terrell Park? I know that there was that wasn't part of the bond or anything.
It wasn't part of the bond.
Oh, it was?
Yeah. We'd had a master parks plan done that we're following, but one of their suggestions was really turn Terrell Park into a destination location.
Yes.
Which, it'd be adding a lot of activities, and because it's a wonderful park. It's clearly got a golf course.
They got a golf course out there, man.
It's got it's got the wetlands out there.
Yeah.
It's got a nature center out there. It's a beautiful park, and people can come from across the area. But I think the more attractive we make that, but we also have to deal with our local neighborhoods and playground equipment.
Yeah,
and keep that up, and it all costs money. And and so we need to be mindful of it and continue to improve and have the community involved in
it. Yeah. I had a coworker, and he knew you was coming on the show, and like you said, with the golf course and stuff like that, he was like, this area needs a golf course that that is well suitable, because the golf courses out here, and I know this is very minor, but as far as like for the golfers out there, and I know this is like, you can't like, hey, we need a new golf course, but it's a lot of people.
Courses are expensive.
They are expensive,
and again, when you make a decision like that, I can tell you that's going to be the will of the people. I mean, that's how it's going to happen.
Yeah,
because the people have to pay for it. It's not going to pay for itself, and I'm not the least bit against it. I think it's great, but I would always be for, as we did this time, put it on a bond for people to be willing to invest in, and if they decide to, that's great. If they decide not to, you're going to respect that. But I think as we continue to improve the area and make it more attractive, I heard from people, and I understand this is, people say, well, we got bigger projects. We got to take care of this first.
Yeah.
And, clearly enough, people believe that.
Somebody said, will you be at the MLK parade tomorrow?
I will be there. Yes.
I don't even know why they even asked that.
I'll be walking in it. I got to get my steps in every day.
Oh, you're going to walk?
Oh, yeah.
You're not going to do the drive and wave thing?
Well, the city, we do have vehicles that I can ride in, but I'd rather walk, because you get closer to the people. You handed out candy to kids, and I get my steps in too. So
yeah,
it works out all the way around.
They got people that's asking to work with your office to raise some funding.
All right.
Keisha Hester, all you gotta do is email him or hit him on his page. He got his number on his page where you can call him and try to make something happen and things like that.
Absolutely.
As far as I know people have suggested as far as the curfew for the teens out there. You think that's something that they can do? Is that something suitable, or that might not? I think.
Well, I will say the city of Beaumont had a curfew, but the state legislature in 2023 passed a law where cities cannot have curfews now for the youth. So it's not something that we can do according to state law. So I understand why people suggested it. Beaumont had one, but now we don't.
Yeah. When we had one, was that effective? I don't know how effective that can be as far as having a curfew for.
Well, it can give police officers a reason to investigate youth that are out past a certain hour. Mm-hmm. So it gives them a reason to. Now, otherwise, though, if they're busy answering other calls, they're not going to be clearly doing that.
Yeah.
So, how effective it was, I really can't. I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
But I know that's something that that was after I got elected that passed, and that was something that it was a bit of a surprise. I don't know the legislature's reason for doing that.
What advice would you give to you said as far as youth? What advice would you give to youth that are inspired to get into as far as public service? As far as what you do, or a council, or how would you advise them to to get into it? Because I think we have more older people that are voting.
Right.
You have more older people that are sitting on boards and committees and stuff like that. Would you want to get the youth involved as far as like?
Absolutely. And my wife and I, we have 5 kids. We got 10 grandkids, and I say that a lot because I'm proud of my family. But also, I know when you're younger and you have kids, you just have less capacity. Mm-hmm. You got less time. You're working. You got kids' activities to do. You got homework to help kids on. So I understand why people that are younger are less likely to be involved just because they have less time. But I love it when they're involved.
Yeah.
Because, my perspective is still limited to the lens through which I've experienced life. I mean, I'm 65-year-old white male.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just who I am.
Yeah.
Now, I can hear from other people, but I think, having those people get involved in the process, I think that's great. And I respect everybody that gets involved. And I think one of the best ways, if you're interested, especially in the political world, first, just get involved in your community organizations. Mm-hmm. And because, in the political world, if you will, and I don't really think of this as a political world, but people tell me it is,
mm-hmm.
You got to be able to get along with other people. Or put it this way, I think it helps if you can get along with other people, and you can really listen to other people and realize that your point of view is not the only point of view. And I've been married a long time, so my wife's always made that clear to me. My way of thinking is not the only way to think. So,
exactly.
And then as you get adult kids, they remind you too.
Yeah.
So
my daughter 10 years old, and she lets me know too that my way of thinking as far as
there you go.
She's starting to get her footing as far as having an opinion of what's going on. Right. So but I have fun. I live through her. Where do you see the city in 5-10 years? What's the goal? What's the game plan? What's your vision?
Well, hopefully we'll continue to make progress on these youth initiatives, continue to improve our our crime, and with the real-time crime center, I think we've made a lot of progress. It's reduced some property crimes and everything else because more people are getting caught mm-hmm. that are involved in criminal activity because of the new technology. But economic development, if we want more people to move to Beaumont, mm-hmm. we've got to have a Beaumont people want to move too.
Yeah.
And, oftentimes when, it matters how attractive your city it is mm-hmm. and the activities that you have, the parks that you have, and the businesses that you have, the more opportunities for young people to stay. And I know I moved away after I graduated from Lamar. Mm-hmm. That was in 1983.
Yep.
But, and I know that's continued to be a challenge, and because people want to go off where there's more to do.
Yeah.
And but I think we can't, if we continue to make Beaumont more attractive, be mindful of it.
Mhm.
And I say that if you've got to think about it, Beaumont, was pretty just functional, industrial for a long time.
Yeah.
It wasn't until maybe 20 years ago that we started requiring developers to put in sidewalks. That's why we don't have many sidewalks.
That is true.
And now I'm not criticizing anybody. That was, if you will of the people. And now, as times change, people say, well, we need bike lanes. I don't disagree with any of it, but part of it's capacity. And when you don't build initially for that, it becomes a lot more expensive to put it in.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Roy. One of the things that attracted me where I live is they had sidewalks.
Yeah.
They had sidewalks where you don't have to be in the street. Your kids can
Right.
walk down and ride the bike and
Right.
stuff like that. And that was one of the things that kind of that pushed me over here.
That's right. And when your developer put in this neighborhood,
Mhm.
which is, I think it's been here maybe. It probably started close to 15 years ago.
Yeah, something like that. I don't even know if it's been 15. It's probably like maybe 10 or something.
Maybe
Like
so.
it hasn't been that long.
Yeah, and I know they're considering expanding it now, which is exciting.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, but it's because of the new requirements. They had to put in sidewalks, and there's other areas. Sometimes people, say, I don't know why the people are putting in sidewalks that go to nowhere. It's like, well, I mean, if you don't start putting them in,
yeah, yeah, because in the north
you got to
end,
start somewhere.
The north end, I don't think they have. I mean, you got sidewalks on Lucas and Magnolia and Concord, the major.
Right.
But everything in between, it's like it's no sidewalks.
Right.
It's like in the middle of the street and all that. But as far as you saying as far as making Beaumont attractive, BISD has been a situation where people was saying and people suggest, well, if BISD was a better school district, and parents would be like, oh, hey, let's move to Beaumont because the school district is good out there. I know sometimes the council and the school district, y'all get together and have meetings together. Are y'all planning on doing that? And why do y'all do that?
Well, really just to know what the other's doing, seeing where we can assist one another when possible, because certainly the kids in BISD are a part of Beaumont.
Mm-hmm.
And the perception of the district and the reality of the district affects Beaumont. Now, one thing I want to say is I know TEA has taken over BISD, and I think BISD does a lot of great work. But I think the state system needs to be changed because Beaumont's got a little over 20% poverty. 87% of the kids in BISD are economically disadvantaged.
Okay. All right.
And 87%. That's why there's free lunches and breakfast for all the kids in the school district.
Mm-hmm.
But we've just got to keep improving the district, but a lot of that's going to be how we can meet the needs of these kids, because I think a lot of it's a social problem. I mean, when you got kids that their parents maybe don't read to them, or their caregivers don't read to them, sometimes they don't know how to read, or they're not good readers.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't put a value on it. And so that kid doesn't have that value. And by the time they're in 5th grade, if they're not reading very proficiently, school becomes, so they withdraw because they just feel less than adequate in a lot of cases.
Yeah. And
so, I think we've got to do a better job. And I think the state needs to help out, because, there are poverty's greatest in Beaumont and Jefferson County, because we've got public transportation. We have most of the services for this area are in Beaumont.
Mm-hmm.
So if people live in Sour Lake or Lumberton or Port Neches or Nederland or Port Arthur or Vidor, a lot of them just move here.
Yeah.
Because things are here and you can get around with, transportation
mm-hmm.
easier, or mass transit. And a lot of the social service agencies are here. But, I think we need to be able to reach these kids more effectively and make sure that their basic needs are met, but also make sure they get educated.
Yeah, and that's one thing I'm gonna shout out my wife. When my daughter comes home from school, immediately she has her doing homework, and after that she makes her read. I think she got to read like 10 minutes or something like that, and then she got to explain to her what she read and stuff. And you know, I'm it makes me smile, but you have a lot of parents out there that are not committed like that, which is unfortunate. And so the teachers have to deal with it, and you know what I'm
Well,
saying?
no, that's right. And when you've got, and you can have 18 kids in a class, and if you got 2 of them that can't read well, and they're in 5th
Yeah,
grade, they can be pretty disruptive.
yeah.
And so that makes the teaching harder for the other kids.
Hmm.
And so we've got to continue to identify those kids and help provide the services that can help them overcome the challenges that they're experiencing. And there's not going to be one solution to fix all
No,
that,
not
and
at all.
I'm not going to come up with them.
Yeah.
It's going to take smarter people than me, and I know the district works hard at it.
Hmm.
And there's washer and dryers in a lot of schools because
Hmm.
kids come to school and their clothes are dirty because nobody's washing their clothes, and they'll provide them a change of clothes and wash their clothes. People don't think about that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of real challenges out there for these kids that we need to, if we want things to be different, we have to address it. If we don't address it, things aren't going to get better that way. But I believe they can, because I believe we've gotten smarter, and we're talking about it. We're talking about it right now.
Yeah. What do you think about parents or citizens that believe that voice doesn't matter? I mean, do they just come to council meetings and voice it to y'all, or how can they make their voice matter? Because a lot of people think like, man, if I say something, it won't even matter to them or whatever.
Well, I mean, it's whether your job or whether your relationship. If you don't talk about it, nobody's going to know you got a problem with it.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
So how you communicate your problem is really important. And yeah, I mean, you've got to talk about it. And I don't think you have to go to council meeting to do that. That is one way, but you can email us. Emails are really effective because they're easy to track.
Mm-hmm.
Like mine's roy.west@beaumonttexas.gov. But if you go to the city website, you can find that out as well. And I've shared my cell phone. We'll share it again at the end of the show,
Mm-hmm.
or we can put it in the comments. But, yeah, you need to let your voice get heard, but also recognize that your voice isn't the only voice. But you need to articulate your reason, and then you need to you need to be willing to have some compromise in that, or whether you willing to or not. Usually, it's going to take some compromise. I mean, sometimes I get emails and text about that everybody's a crook and everybody at the city, is messing them over.
Yeah.
And I know that's not true.
Yeah.
Now, I know they're upset, but when you articulate it, that you cast a wide net and you say everybody's bad and nobody's doing their job right, that's just not true.
Yeah.
So just articulate think about what the problem is, and then reach out to us. Let us know.
Yeah,
Then hold us accountable.
Yeah, I think they need to know who their council member is first, and then just go.
Which is all on the city website. The funny thing is there is tremendous amount of information there, but you got to go look at it.
Yeah,
and people are used to, and I'm guilty of it. You get on your computer, and now your phone's listening to you all the time, and everything. So it's like the things you've been talking about starts
popping up,
providing information to you over the phone. So I don't think people get on there and do the deep dives. We try to continue to push information out on our Facebook page and my Facebook page, and we give it to the newspaper and we give it to the television stations. And I'll have people say, why didn't I know about this? And I said, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because we put it on Facebook, but you evidently didn't see our Facebook. It was in the newspaper, but you didn't see that. It was on the television. You didn't see that. I get it. But, back 20 years ago or 40 years ago, there was only a couple of ways to communicate messages, so people knew where to look. Now messages come to you. You just get random text.
Yeah.
on things that are unsolicited. So you get a lot of information. You get inundated with information, probably too much information to be able to digest any given day.
Yeah. Hey, what's that number? What's that number again before we
409
409, y'all.
350 9317.
9317.
Yes.
There y'all go, right
and
there.
I do have my phone silenced right now, but I'm going to see if I got any calls since we've been up. I have, but it wasn't about this.
Okay. 409-350-9317. If your thing go blow up like Mike Jones when he had that cell phone. I don't know if you know who Mike Jones is. He was a rapper. He used to rap about his cell phone number.
I
like
remember
that.
that. Well, the funny thing is, oftentimes when people call me or reach out, they say, I hate to bother you. And I remind people all the time, I'm the one that ran for this office.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about bothering me. It is what I signed up for. And so, I want to hear your concerns. I want to hear your praises too on when, people at the city do well, because we pass that on along too. My ask is, be reflective on what you're saying, because that helps us get to the solution quicker.
No doubt. Before we leave out of here, what message do you want to leave with the people that are listening and then commenting and got your number and stuff like that about the city?
Well, again, I love Southeast Texas. I love Beaumont. I'm here. We've got 7 of my 10 grandkids live here. 3 of my 5 kids, all my kids are married, and 3 of the 5 live here too. So, but we've got to, as a community, keep working to make it better. And my understanding is, if they think they're going to elect somebody that's going to fix Beaumont, they're wrong. That's not going to happen. It's going to take Beaumont being better.
Yeah.
It's going to take, and the communities that do better or, have involvement. And I think historically people hadn't been real involved in the city. People are getting a lot more involved.
Yeah.
I think, in recent years, turnout at the elections, there's been a lot more people running for city council. They're not running for the money, despite what people say. I hear, well, you get the residuals from the oil and gas. It was
no, they're not saying that.
Yeah, no, I've been told that. And, and it's just, that's clearly not the case. This is not a career. This is something you do because you love your community. But, it's not something you're going to do to make money. But, the people that volunteer in the community, they're not doing it. They're doing it because they care.
Yeah.
And I think, and people watching your show, a lot of them probably care. And, just doing one more thing helps make things better. And being kind to other people makes things better. But, my message is, as a community, we just need to be better and get involved. And when, and don't just throw grenades. Don't just talk about what's wrong. And, because there's never going to be anything that's perfect. There's always going to be some challenges to it. People have bad days.
Yeah.
But Southeast Texas, we've got a great interstate. It's, we're getting $800 million spent on it, which is real pain right now.
It is right now, but
it's really going to benefit us in the long haul. We've got all the pipelines, all the rail, the port. Economically, this is a huge place to be. I get to talk to other mayors. I'm a part of a couple of groups that we talk just to get feedback from one another and share challenges and best practices and those type things. And the one thing I hear repeatedly is we got everything we need. We've got huge industry here. We've got waterways. We've got pipelines. We've got rail. We've got an interstate. You think about you're a city that's not on an interstate.
Yeah, I know.
And you've lost some industry. How do you grow?
Yeah.
It's really difficult.
It's hard.
Whereas we've got tremendous work opportunities. But I think, improving the community, making it more attractive, working with our youth, because I think that's going to also have a big impact in our school district.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, I appreciate you for coming on. I know you was busy, so But I was, I'm not gonna say I was surprised when you say, "Yeah, I'll come on there." But I know it's been a lot of going on as far as the media, as far as the city and the youth and the council and all that stuff like that. So I know you got to work through a lot as far as
Well,
the mayor.
yeah. I mean, you say that. I mean, part of it is there's only so much I can do, and I work on what I can do. The stuff I can't do,
Mhm.
and some of the noise, if you will, you know, I just don't lose a lot of sleep over it because I know, when I get up in the morning, I want to make positive impact. I'm not going to dwell on the things I can't do, and I'm not going to dwell on the things that people are just mad about, but they
Yeah,
can't
no
communicate why
doubt.
they're mad. But if
Yeah.
people say, "Hey, this is a problem. This is something we can do," that I'll hear.
Hmm.
But when people are calling you names, I don't pay
Yeah,
much
I
attention
know.
to
And a
that.
lot of people are just they're not proactive. They're always reactive to something that's happening. You know what I'm saying? The situation might post up some crime or
Right.
whatever. Now here they come out the woodwork saying as far as what to do and all that. But we don't have people that are proactive. And like you said, as far as getting involved, citizens and getting in these committees and just, trying to get involved in what the city is trying to do.
Your voice, people's voice gets heard. I can tell you that. I mean,
Hmm.
we have neighborhood association meetings. Again, those are all posted, and we
Yes,
have
they do.
poor participation. I mean, if we have 12 people, and we've always got the police, the fire, the
Hmm.
council people are there.
Hmm.
I try to make. I've made two earlier this week. I try to make them frequently too, so that I can be present, and so there's lots of ways to reach and share that information, your concerns, and also the things that you appreciate.
Yeah, no doubt. We finna get out of here. Like I said, I appreciate you, Mayor, for coming on. If y'all want to hit the mayor up, if y'all need information, you can hit him up on his page. He has his number. Also, you can email him. The email's on your Facebook page also, too, right?
Yes, but and we can put it in the comments, roy.west@beaumonttexas.gov. And I have a personal email too, but I like the city email because if it's a city problem, then I can forward it, so that we can have a paper trail to follow
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that we're following up on everything appropriately.
Gotcha. Until then, man, hey, y'all have a blessed weekend out there. Y'all be safe. Y'all enjoy Beaumont, the city. Have fun. Until then, man, we'll see y'all again
Hey,
next
thank you,
week.
Floyd. I appreciate you having me on, and I appreciate the fact that you do this.
Oh
And
yeah.
you're always a good voice in the community.
I try. I try to stay even down the middle because it can get a little dicey, and it can, people could try to be persuasive. You know how it is out there. And but yeah, there's a lot of people that commented. Brandon Johnson would say, "Keep being awesome." A lot of people was, what I'm saying, giving you big ups on here. So, like I said, I appreciate you for coming on.
Well, thank you, sir.
All right, y'all, we out of here.